October 2, 2018. A political murder alarmed the United Nations. Famous Saudi current affairs journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Mysterious disappearance at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. On October 20, the preliminary investigation results of the Saudi Procuratorate into the missing Khashoggi. The preliminary investigation results confirmed that Khashoggi was dead. Hearing the news of husband's death, Khashoggi's unmarried wife filed a lawsuit against the Saudi government in a U.S. court. This public prosecution instantly caused an international sensation. Turkish media said, a cover-up team traveled from Saudi Arabia to Turkey to dispose of Khashoggi's body. U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo also issued a statement on this call on the Saudi government to adopt a more transparent approach in handling Khashoggi's case. In the end, Britain, Germany and even the United Nations issued documents condemning the Saudi government. Who is this reporter? So many countries came to support him. How many people's interests were affected by his death? Today let us walk into this political massacre that is shaking the world. Looking at the family history of current affairs reporter Khashoggi, you will know why this case alarmed the United Nations. Khashoggi comes from a famous and prominent Turkish family. His grandfather Muhammad was the personal physician to the founding king of Saudi Arabia. Uncle Adnan is a world-famous billionaire arms dealer. During the Reagan presidency, the Iran arms scandal triggered the world. His uncle Adnan was a major participant. It can be said that Khashoggi can go smoothly no matter which path he takes, whether official, political, or business. However, the fact is, Khashoggi came from a prominent family background. I didn't choose any of these three paths, official, political, or business. With his personality, he became a current affairs reporter who speaks for the masses. Khashoggi began his journalistic career in the 1980s. He has conducted interviews in many countries in the Middle East. During Khashoggi's journalistic career, his interview with the global terrorist leader Osama bin Laden made him famous. Khashoggi has 2 million followers on the US Twitter social platform, frequently invited to participate in interviews with BBC Al Jazeera Arabia. He is rated as the most famous political commentator in the entire Arab world. In addition, Khashoggi also served as the Director General of the Saudi Intelligence Agency. Top brass at Arab News are influential news and political figures. The further you go to the top, the more you agree with the old saying, it's always cold at high places. Khashoggi, who entered the political center, knew very well intrigues and power struggles among senior officials in Saudi Arabia. There are two forces in Saudi Arabia. One is Wahhabi. The other is Sunni Islam, which is the Muslim Brotherhood. Different from the Wahhabi political views, the Muslim Brotherhood believes that Islamic governance can be achieved through a certain democratic process. The Wahhabis regard democracy as an absolutely Western idea. It would tarnish the sanctity of Saudi Arabia's native Islam. For this reason, Wahhabis resolutely resist all heretical behaviors. Saudi people are prohibited from smoking, drinking coffee, wearing rings and other heretical behaviors. Too much is not enough for Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Salman. It is best for these two domestic forces to be on a par, so that the status of the Saudi royal family can be consolidated once and for all. But how could Khashoggi, who supports Saudi Arabia's democratic reforms, fail to see Crown Prince Salman's selfish motives? In 2003, while still serving in the official Saudi newspaper Al Ahmed, he took the opportunity to publish an article criticizing the Wahhabi prophet in the newspaper, publicly criticizing Wahhabism for its ideological rigidity and decadence. It is tantamount to using this to directly declare war on the Saudi royal family. Crown Prince Salman has long been wary of Khashoggi, who supports the Muslim Brotherhood. After this incident, Salman fired Khashoggi as a matter of course. Khashoggi, who was fired, was more outspoken. In 2006, he directly targeted Crown Prince Salman, opposition to Salman's war in Yemen and ties to Qatar. He wrote an article in newspapers criticizing Salman Saudi Arabia's war in Yemen. Instead of increasing national security, it has increased domestic casualties and losses. More importantly, the war in Yemen has caused heavy casualties among children and civilians. He also disclosed events in Yemen. The Saudi royal family borrowed $11 billion from international banks, but the Saudi royal family did not explain the actual use of the loan. Khashoggi completely angered Salman and was blocked by the Saudi government. Lost the most basic right to speak as a citizen. In June 2017, Khashoggi received favor from the United States. The United States issued him an outstanding talent non-immigrant work visa. Khashoggi became a columnist for the Washington Post, exclusively for the U.S. Gazette. Far away in the extremely free Murray Street, Khashoggi spared no effort in criticizing Salman. In response to Salman's anti-corruption campaign in the country and the arrest of hundreds of businessmen, Khashoggi mocked Salman for only allowing state officials to set fires and not allowing people to light lamps. Salman, who was launching an anti-corruption campaign in Saudi Arabia at the time, His tycoon deeds abroad have been exposed by the media one after another. According to Gulf media reports, the person who spent a huge sum of $300 million to buy the Louis XIV castle in Paris, France, in 2015 was Salman himself, who launched an anti-corruption campaign in Saudi Arabia. Take this anti-corruption campaign as an example. Salman's motivation is not simply anti-corruption. Arrested business elites and Saudi royal family reach settlement. As long as you pay the sky-high bail, you can regain your freedom. Obviously, Salman's operation is not only to fight against corruption, but also to have enough reasons to make money. After the anti-corruption campaign ended, Saudi Arabia officially announced that the amount of stolen money collected in the anti-corruption campaign reached more than $100 billion. And just after the anti-corruption campaign ended, Saudi Crown Prince Salman Jr. signed a contract with a Saudi construction giant company. Prepare to build 5 luxurious royal palaces in a newly built city as a gift for your future accession to the throne. That same year in 2017, Khashoggi wrote in a Washington Post column, "Intellectuals and religious leaders who dare to express their opinions are publicly humiliated, intimidated, and arrested." Can you imagine that the Saudi government is still arresting people based on the so-called blacklist? 2018, the year Khashoggi was killed. He founded a new group in the United States to oppose the Saudi government. Called Democracy in the Arab World Now, Khashoggi encouraged Saudi citizens to vote on the website. He also planned to launch a website dedicated to revealing the Saudi economy. Because he is well aware of the corruption situation in Saudi Arabia. It was precisely these actions of Khashoggi that led to his death. On October 2, 2018, Khashoggi entered the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey, in order to go through the marriage procedures with his fiancée, and never came out. Later, he disappeared mysteriously. Turkish police suspect Khashoggi may have been killed in consulate. The Saudi government insists Khashoggi has left the consulate. The Khashoggi incident is still being followed up, but Khashoggi has been confirmed dead and the whereabouts of his body are still unknown. Turkey says it has a large amount of evidence of Khashoggi's murder. Subsequently released images of the 15-member Saudi team that killed Khashoggi. Suspected personal bodyguards of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed, special operations team, intelligence personnel and forensic scientists, etc. While insisting that Khashoggi had left the Saudi consulate that day, the Saudi government did not provide video to prove it. Although the Saudi consulate has given permission for Turkish police to enter the consulate and conduct a search, the results of the search have not been made public. No one is seen alive, no body is seen dead. The mystery of Khashoggi's life and death will continue. Why does Turkey, which claims to have evidence, put up smoke bombs and not just make the evidence it has available to the public? This starts with the delicate relationship between the two countries in recent years. As the two major powers in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and Turkey are both competing for the top spot. And because of the political discord throughout the Muslim world, relations between Saudi Arabia and Turkey have been fraught over the past decade. On the Syrian civil war, although both countries are rarely united in supporting the overthrow of the Assad regime. But Saudi Arabia and its ally the United States have the same position, but Turkey has a different position from the United States and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia backs US-backed opposition. Turkey supports the opposition forces it fosters. Firmly oppose the armed forces supported by the United States in Syria. In addition, in the view of Turkish President Erdogan, Saudi Arabia under Salman has posed a serious threat to Turkey's status. Saudi Arabia has become the leader of the Muslim world in the name of custodian of the Holy Land. When the Khashoggi incident occurred, Arab countries such as the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, and Egypt immediately supported Saudi Arabia. So Turkey is clinging to the Khashoggi incident in order to stand on the moral high ground. This will further amplify Saudi Arabia's negative impact on the Muslim incident. Secondly, as both allies of the United States, Saudi Arabia has always been a major obstacle to the good relations between Turkey and the United States. Especially after the Brinson incident, Trump vigorously stopped Turkey. Turkey has been looking for opportunities to consolidate relations with the United States. And with the help of Khashoggi, who reports for the United States, Turkey can alienate the relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia, thereby improving relations with the United States. In addition, the Khashoggi incident continues to ferment in international politics, and it also brings Turkey from a relatively marginalized corner into the spotlight of the world stage, becoming the focus of global attention. All the hustle and bustle in the world is for profit. All the hustle and bustle in the world is for profit. As for why so many countries intervened in the Khashoggi incident, the answer is of course obvious. And poor Khashoggi was just an abandoned child in the whirlpool of interests.